The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Good evening and welcome to my show, Let's Talk Careers with Sara on Armed Radio Global. Today I'm going to talk to you about careers like every other week, and today is going to be a special one where I'm going to start with email examples on how to respond to an employer interview request. Getting a response from an employer is a highlight of the job search. You've put in the work and the applications, and now it's time to move the conversation to the next level. When an employer responds to your job application with an interview request, you want to get back to them quickly and with enthusiasm. If you apply through Indeed or any other platform, emails from employers will have the subject line response to application on Indeed or Career Builder or Monster. Be sure to check your email setting and spam folder so you don't miss their messages. You can also check your account for notifications from employers. In your responses, keep your tone professional and upbeat. Avoid emojis, emoji icons, and slang. Proofread your messages for typos before you hit send. Here are 4 email examples to get you started. So if an employer requests an interview, in this case, you should send your response the same day. This shows enthusiasm for the role and respect for the employer's time. Begin your email with a note of thanks. If possible, agree to the employer's suggested day and time. However, if you are currently working and your schedule is not flexible, most employers will accommodate your situation. Now, here's an example of an email to consider if an employer contacts you requesting an interview. Dear Ms. Blank, thank you for your consideration and the invitation to interview for the social media manager role, or for an RN role, for engineer role, doesn't matter for what role, at XYZ company. I am available this Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and I look forward to meeting with you to discuss this position in more detail. Please let me know if I can provide any additional information prior to our meeting on Wednesday afternoon at your offices. Sincerely, Sara Yusupov, phone and your phone number. The response is short, clear, and positive. It reinforces the date and location of the interview. There is no need to include additional details. You will discuss the specifics during the interview. Now, if an employer asks you to call to schedule an interview, this is another type of email you might receive from an employer who is requesting to call the employer's offices to schedule an interview. Even though the employer wants you to call, you could also consider sending a brief confirmation email. Here is an example. Dear Miss Blank, thank you for considering me for the blank role at XYZ company. Per your request, I will call you tomorrow afternoon to arrange for an interview. I look forward to speaking with you. Please let me know if I can provide any additional information. Sincerely, your name and your phone number. Finally, an employer might email you with the follow-up questions. These questions are essentially a preliminary interview, so respond with professionalism and detail. When asked company-related questions, provide specific detailed responses. Research company information, including corporate blogs and social media channels, and adapt the language you find there into your own words. When asked about your pay or salary requirements, employers ask this question because they want to know your expectations are aligned with what they can offer. You have a few options when answering this question. One is to delay talking about pay until you know more about the job. An example response could be, I'm looking for a competitive offer that includes benefits and other kinds of compensation. I'd like to know more about the specifics of what this job requires first. Another option is to provide a range instead of one number. If you are only interested in this job, if it pays a specific amount, be honest. This can help you and the employer determine if this is a match early on. For more example responses on these questions, I will review for it later on in the show. When asked questions about your own career path, so align information from your resume with the job description to make natural connections. Be sure that your enthusiasm for the position and the industry are apparent. If asked about skills you don't have, be truthful. Instead, discuss transferable skills, proof of adaptability, ability to acquire new skills quickly, and a willingness to learn. In today's job market, it's rare that candidates have all the listed qualifications, so don't be intimidated or discouraged. Instead, provide examples that show you can learn and grow as an employee. So here's another template that I can show you as samples. Opening and closing statements you can use when replying to an employer who asks follow-up questions in an email. This strategy can help move the process to the interview scheduling stage. So you can start like this. Dear Ms. Blank, thank you so much for considering me for the blank role at XYZ Company. I have outlined responses to your questions below. Insert your specific answer. I appreciate the opportunity to provide this additional information, and I look forward to speaking with you and members of your team soon. Sincerely, your name and phone number. Employers sometimes request that you email another individual to schedule an interview. This will likely be someone you have not contacted in the job application process. In this case, you must write 2 emails, a reply to the employer's email and another to the person arranging the interview. Again, it's important to respond promptly to the employer and remain brief in your reply. In the second email, you will need to provide context for the reason you are writing. So here are the 2 templates to help you navigate both situations. To the employer, dear Ms. Blank, thank you for considering me for the blank role at XYZ Company. Per your request, I will email blank to arrange for an interview. So in a blank, you put the name of the person that the employer told you to email to. I look forward to speaking with you and additional members of your team. Please let me know if I can provide any further information in the meantime. Sincerely, your name and phone number. Now, to the person arranging the interview, you write the email like this. Dear Ms. Blank, I received an email today from Elaine Wade requesting that I contact you to schedule an interview for the social media manager role or for any role at XYZ Company. At your convenience, please let me know when you have openings in your schedule. I am excited to learn more about the opportunities at XYZ Company and look forward to discussing the role in greater detail. Sincerely, your name and phone number. If your schedule isn't flexible, let this second email recipient know. You can add a few more sentences in the first paragraph that explain your circumstances. For example, at your convenience, please let me know if you have openings in your schedule. Though I currently work standard business hours, I am available for interviews during lunch hours before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. Is it possible to schedule an interview during these times? If not, please let me know so that I can arrange time off for the next interview. Your response to an employer's request is the beginning of your communication. Set a great tone in that first response, and you may improve your chances of moving forward in the hiring process. You are tuning in on Armed Radio and Let's Talk Careers with Sara every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I talk about careers and job hunting. If you would like to ask a question or would like to hear about previous shows that you have missed, you can find me on Facebook at Let's Talk Careers with Sara. You can learn about jobs, tips, and advice on my page. If you have a career-related question, you can just message me on Facebook. At some point during the interview process, you will likely be asked about your salary or compensation expectations. That is, how much you would like to earn in this job. There are a few reasons employers ask these questions. In most cases, the company has budgeted a pay range for the role. They want to be sure that your expectations are consistent with that budget before moving forward. Another reason is that should things continue to go well, your potential employer wants to put together an offer that is compelling and exciting to you. This question opens up an opportunity for you to consider and discuss the salary as well as other benefits that interest you. Here are several guidelines that can help you steer the conversation. Know your worth. Each job has a general market value. You can learn the compensation range for your job in Indeed Salaries, in Glassdoor.com, when you can search by job title and location to narrow in on current compensation rates in your field. Before you share your salary expectations with an employer, think holistically about what you are earning presently, including salary, bonuses, and benefits. Then use the research you have done to set a realistic target for what kind of compensation you want in your next job. What base salary are you looking for? Which benefits do you value the most? What other perks interest you? If you are changing career tracks or interviewing for a job at a company that's structured differently from your last employer, you should be able to articulate what you are gaining or losing in terms of compensation. Another thing, you don't have to answer salary questions right away. The requirements of a job as well as the other kinds of compensation an employer offers like benefits, equity, and bonuses are important to take into consideration. When you are first asked, what are your salary expectations, it's okay to delay answering. Now, here are some responses that can help you continue the conversation and get more information. I'm looking for a competitive offer that includes benefits and other kinds of compensation, but I'd like to know more about the specifics of what this job requires first. This answer is good for most situations. Another answer, over the course of my career, I've worked in several different areas across different levels. I'd like to learn more about what this role entails as well as the benefits and other forms of compensation you offer. This may be a better answer if you are transitioning to a new career track. The next thing, give a salary range, not an exact number. If you have delayed answering the question and the interviewer asks you again, it's time to respond. Avoid giving a specific number. Instead, you can provide a range. Cite your research and frame the conversation as being about what is fair rather than what you want. Here are some examples of how to answer. For the less experienced candidate, you can say, I understand from my research and experience that low 50s to mid 60s is the competitive range for this role in this industry and city. Or you can say, in this environment and in this location, my research indicates that mid 50s and low 70s is a reasonable range. Now, for the more experienced candidate, you can say, based on my experience in this field and my research on the current market, I understand that mid-70s to low 90s is a competitive range. Leave it there. Wait to negotiate further until you have a formal job offer in hand. To sum up, here's what you need to remember when talking about salary in an interview. Know your worth and the forms of compensation that matter most to you. Use salary resources like Indeed Salaries or Glassdoor.com or Payscale.com to study the current trends and learn about the range for this job in your city. Give a range, not a specific number. Frame the conversation about salary around what is fair and competitive. And lastly, don't try to negotiate until you have a formal job offer. Depending on your work and your position, interviews are different with each role. So some may ask your behavioral interview questions. They just want to see how you are capable of paraphrasing your behavior. A behavior interview is a popular interview technique employers use to assess job candidates based on their past behavior. Typically, this means interviews don't ask hypothetical questions like how would you react if you were under a lot of pressure at work. Instead, they would ask situational questions such as describe a time you were under a lot of pressure at work. How did you react? And with these kinds of questions, interviewers are usually trying to learn three things. First, they want to know how you behaved in a real-world situation. Second, they want to understand the measurable value you added to that situation. Finally, they are trying to learn how you define something like pressure at work, a concept different people might interpret differently. So here are a few more examples of behavioral interview questions. Give me an example of a difficult problem you solved. How did you solve this problem? Tell me about a mistake that you have made. How did you handle it? Can you tell me about a challenging situation you overcame at work? Has there been a time when you had to pitch an idea to a manager or a senior leader? What was the outcome? Tell me about a time you learned a new skill. How did you approach it and how, too, did you apply your new learnings? Success in a behavioral interview is all about preparation. There aren't necessarily wrong answers. These questions are aimed at getting to know the real you. The important thing is to be honest and to practice structuring your responses in a way that communicates what you have to offer. So you can use the STAR method to structure answers to behavioral questions. A technique that helps you structure your response to behavioral interview questions. So using this method, you create a deliberate story arc that your interviewers can easily follow. So here's how it works. S for situation. What is the context of your story? In setting the situation, you are telling your listener when or where this event took place. For example, we were working on a 6-month contract for a high-value client when our agency merged with another large firm. T for task. What was your role in this situation? For example, it was my role to lead the transition for my group while also communicating with our client to keep the project on track. A for action. What did you do? For example, I set up quickly checking with the client to update them on the progress of the merger. This cemented an important level of trust between us. I also had regular one-on-ones with each person on the team, both to assess how they were handling the change and to make sure we would meet our deadlines. R for results. What did your actions lead to? For example, we ended up completing the project on time, meeting all of their specifications. It was incredibly rewarding to navigate a lot of change and succeed under pressure. So STAR, right? So STAR is spelled S-T-A-R. Situation, task, action, and result. How to prepare. So you start by reading the job description carefully. Make a list of the top skills or qualifications it calls for. Think of a story that demonstrates your ability in each area. Following the STAR technique, write your stories down, including the situation, task, action, and result. Then practice saying them out loud several times, either by yourself or with a friend. Keep in mind that your answer should only take about 1.5 to 2 minutes. As you include each of the elements, try to be succinct. If you are feeling shy or lacking confidence, this practice is all the more important. You should get comfortable with the stories. And remember, you won't be able to anticipate every behavioral question you get, but with a strong set of anecdotes, you will be able to answer each one with confidence. Now, let's say you have applied for jobs and now you don't hear any employers calling you for an interview. The chirping crickets, the deafening silence. You've applied to countless jobs and yet you still haven't heard back. It's no wonder people describe looking for a job as one of the hardest jobs a person can have. Falling into what's known as the application black hole is a common experience, one that often frustrates even the most optimistic job applicants. If you're applying to jobs and not hearing back, here are 5 ways to build your confidence despite the silence, as well as 2 bonus tips to help your resume get noticed. Number 1, keep up momentum. It's vital that you continue searching and applying for jobs. Fortunately, the job market is filled with opportunities. Set weekly goals for yourself, targeting a specific number of applications so that you don't get too focused on a particular position. Goals can help you alleviate anxiety and maintain a daily routine. Look for ways to get involved in your community or industry if you are unemployed, have spare time on your hands, or are feeling isolated. In the US, there are 3 million jobs added to Glassdoor, to PayScale, to Indeed each month. While your perfect fit might feel elusive in the moment, chances are high the right job for you is out there. Number 2, optimize your efforts. Automate the front end of the job search process. Identify jobs that interest you as much as possible. Do this by setting up job alerts. Email updates about new jobs that match your preferences. You can create a job alert by doing a job search on the right side of the search results page. Just enter your email and select Activate to have new jobs containing these search terms sent to your inbox on a regular basis. Because you can create numerous alerts, use specific keywords from the job descriptions, job titles, and company names you are targeting. Experiment with a variety of job titles and terms until you find searches that match what you are looking for. By reducing the amount of time you will spend searching, you will gain time to customize and improve your applications, tailoring your resume and getting that cover letter just right. Number 3, know the rules. To further reduce your chances of falling into the application black hole, read each job description carefully for keywords and include these words in your resume and cover letters. Today, most employers use the applicant tracking system. For short, is called ATS, a software that allows for automated sorting of applications based on specific keywords, including skills, years of experience, training, or schools attended. As soon as you click Submit, your application is evaluated based on job description keywords, then ranked alongside other candidates in the company's database. The takeaway? Always consider whether you have the qualifications a job description is calling for before you apply. You are unlikely to get past automated systems or human recruiters without the required qualifications. Number 4, do your research. Have you set your sights on a particular company? Do some digging. Visit their website to read their company blog and press releases. Learn about their mission on their About Us page. Keep track of local networking events the company is attending or hosting by following their social media channels. You can also follow the company's CEO or other leadership on social media. This is a great way to stay up to date on what's happening within the company and what matters to this organization. And follow potential employers on JobSearch. To receive updates when new jobs are posted, be sure to explore the conversations in the Q&A section too. Company employees and advocates may participate in and monitor these pages. and you might hear about the experience of other members in the community. And lastly, number 5, remember self-care. Remember those goals you set for yourself? The best part of goal setting is the reward. Be sure that you take the time to recognize your accomplishments. Applying for those jobs, attending that networking event, surviving that 5-person interview, and nurture your self-confidence by acknowledging your efforts. Treat yourself in simple, meaningful ways. If you are on a limited budget, there are several cost-friendly ways to kick back. Enjoy a walk in the park, read a good book, make time for friends and family, and above all, practice gratitude. Whether you are unemployed, stuck in a job you can't stand, or just looking for something better, it's easy to feel blue and frustrated. Gratitude for what you already have can be your foundation for future growth. Write down 3 things each day that went well in their causes. As your mindset shifts to focus on what you're grateful for, you will find it easier to relax. In fact, research has shown that even doing this exercise for just 1 week can increase happiness and decrease depressive symptoms for 6 months. As promised, here are 2 bonus tips to help you get noticed and avoid the gravitational pull of the job application black hole. Nail those keywords. Rather than revising your resume for each new job you target, include a skills section that you can switch out depending on the role you target. This allows recruiters and ATS to quickly scan proficiencies while you use the bulk of your resume to highlight achievements. And the next thing is use and build your network. Ask your professional and social networks for help. Find out if anyone in your network already works at companies you are targeting. If you haven't heard back about an application and are concerned it's fallen into the black hole, your connection may be able to find an answer. Also, attend local networking events and join digital communities. These are fun ways to meet like-minded professionals and learn of new job opportunities. Looking for your next job can be a daunting process, and if you aren't receiving feedback, it can feel like you aren't making progress. But with a balance of targeted, keywords-rich applications, networking, and self-care, you will escape the application black hole and find not just the next job, but the right job. Now, I know some that are struggling with their resumes, and they think that by DIY, do-it-yourself resume is actually easy and it's very implemented and you can use just the templates and all is good. But when I review a resume of somebody, I offer free service to review resumes, and when I review a resume for somebody, I realize there are so many mistakes. And when you are a professional, you have a degree, you have certifications, you have the licenses, it all goes down to garbage because your resume doesn't shout out those skills, those credentials. Your resume just looks poor, the formatting is poor, the style is poor, and it doesn't really shout to just say hire me. It does the opposite, and it's so embarrassing. So there are 6 universal rules for resume writing. For busy hiring managers, your resume provides a snapshot of your career and is often the determining factor in whether you land an interview. If job search is a journey, a stellar resume is your passport. The fundamental principles of resume writing have remained constant for generations, but evolving technologies mean more aspects of the application and hiring processes take place online than ever before. It's up to you to stay informed of modern best practices and really put your resume to work for you. If you are getting ready for your next career move, keep the 6 universal rules in mind as you create or brush up your resume. Number 1, cover all the basics. The goal of a resume is to best represent your relevant skills and accomplishments, and there are several ways to do that successfully. That said, every resume requires the basic elements: relevant educational degrees or certifications. The importance of your educational background will vary based on the job or industry you're interested in. Relevant work and volunteer experience. Most people choose to list their experience beginning with their most recent job. Don't include everything you did in your past jobs. Instead, focus on achievements over responsibilities. Contact information. Your full name, the city where you live, your email address, and phone number. Because this personal information is sensitive, you should be cautious about who you share your resume with. Relevant skills and your level of mastery. For example, conversational Spanish or familiar with Microsoft Excel versus fluent in Spanish or expert in Microsoft Excel. Number 2, explore the other resumes for inspirations. Search the Indeed resume database or Glassdoor resume database or Career Builder resume database for job title, industry, or company that you are thinking about, and see how others present their backgrounds and skill sets. This is a great way to uncover stronger ways to describe your experience or to avoid overused words. You can also get a sense of the internal language used within a particular industry or company. You might have experience that isn't directly related, but is still highly relevant to the position you are applying for, and you want to include it in your resume. Someone else's resume might feature a similar history and offer an example of how to frame this experience in a compelling way. Number 3, use as few words as possible. Employers need to quickly understand your work experience. Format your experience as a list of short, scannable statements rather than writing out dense paragraphs. For example, tool wording, right? An example of tool wording. Applied expert budgeted management skills to achieve a 20% reduction in departmental expenses through diligent research, identifying significant inefficiencies. With that, I'm lost exactly what the person is doing. So to make it concise, it can be written like this: achieved 20% departmental cost savings by eliminating inefficiencies. Short and sweet. The typical resume is 2 pages maximum, so make sure all the information you have included is essential. If you can't decide what is essential, ask yourself if what you are including is relevant to what the employer is asking for in the job description. It's also important to consider the kind of work you truly want to be hired to do. In other words, don't include past experience for tasks you strongly dislike doing. Give the experiences that you want to keep building on and match what the employer is looking for. This meets the definition of essential information to include on your resume. Number 4, quantify your accomplishments whenever possible. Numbers and data bring your work experience to life and help hiring managers envision the potential impact you could have in their organization. When you can, back up your achievements with real data to boost your credibility and add informative detail to your resume. For example, often unqualified one. Improved lead generation through strategic content marketing initiatives. So to make it quantified, achieved 180% year-over-year lead growth through strategic content marketing initiative. Number 5, use keywords that employers are using in their job descriptions. Hiring managers want to see that you can speak their language and know their lingo of their industry. When they see their own keywords mirrored back to them in your resume, it reinforces the idea that you are a strong candidate for the role. And if your resume will be posted to an online database like Indeed resume or Glassdoor resume or Career Builder, Monster.com, the right keywords are critical to getting found by employers. To research keywords commonly used this job posting, explore the job category trends and select your industry. So you can view top keyword searches and top job titles by month. Number 6, that's the last thing. Proofread several times to catch typos and misspellings. Unfortunately, a single typographical or spelling error is sometimes enough to get your resume discarded early in the game. Review your resume multiple times, doing a thorough line-by-line, word-by-word edit. Reading content backwards awkward and time-consuming, though it may be, is a great way to catch minor mistakes that you might otherwise miss. And an outside perspective is always a good idea. Ask a friend, mentor, or family member to review your resume for you before you begin submitting it to employers. A strong resume can streamline your job search process, helping you showcase your strength and get one step closer to your dream job. With some diligent work up front and by adhering to the 6 rules, you can turn this fundamental job search document into one of your strongest professional assets. Now, I want to talk about how to make your resume stand out. And I will just recommend to use some action verbs that usually people don't use, but only you do. And when writing your resume, it's important to avoid avoid passive verbs. Stay away from business jargon or cliches, and watch out for tired words and phrases. These faulty word choices can determine the strength and effectiveness of your resume. Instead, make a point of using powerful action verbs and avoid overusing the same verbs, such as assisted, oversaw, and utilized. Action words are specific, clarify your contributions, and bring a confident tone to your resume and a list of accomplishments. For example, of lack of strength and clarity is said like this: held weekly status meetings to share client updates. And to empower and make it detailed, you can say spread-headed weekly status meetings to communicate agency revenue growth. This is so much better than the previous one. Can you see how the second option is stronger and more detailed? The action verbs make your contribution clear and impactful. So, what you can do is combine your selection of action verbs with quantifiable results to show both what you did and the effect it had. For example, championed use of user feedback in program improvements, resulting in 50% boost in customer satisfaction ratings. So I'm going to give you selections of a list of verbs to give your resume an edge. And to demonstrate your strong work ethics or introduce your accomplishments, try these words: achieved, capitalized, deciphered, discerned, draw, enacted, endeavored, established, exceeded, sharpened, shattered, sparked, spread-headed, steered, stimulated, supervised, surpassed. All of these lists that you hear now and you're going to hear soon, it's all on my Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, and you're going to find the link in there. And instead of duties included, responsible for, served as, or actions encompassed, try it differently. Try to say accelerated, accomplished, analyzed, assembled, built, founded, created, constructed, delivered, developed, executed, expanded, finalized, guided, handled, headed, improved, increased, initiated, implemented, instituted, produced, reached, simplified, volunteered. To illustrate your communication skills, try using these words: collaborated, conveyed, enlivened, instructed, performed, presented, spoke, trained. And for creative positions, try these words: authored, brainstormed, briefed, communicated, conceptualized, created, derived, designed, diagrammed, drafted, edited, illustrated, imagined, influenced, intensified, modeled, proofread, published, researched, strategized, storyboarded, translated, visualized, wrote. And for sales position, try captured, conserved, converted, earned, generated, maximized, negotiated, won. And for management positions, try these words: advised, arranged, augmented, centralized, championed, differentiated, directed, empowered, endorsed, enforced, ensured, forecasted, fostered, identified, integrated, leveraged, reconciled, reduced, replaced, resolved, orchestrated, optimized, predicted, renovated. For financial positions, you can use these words: audited, classified, collected, equalized, dispensed, halted, investigated, lowered, maintained, minimized, recognized, secured. And for technical positions, you can say these words: advanced, architected, automated, coded, deployed, detected, devised, diagnosed, discovered, formulated, installed, launched, networked, planned, programmed, rewrote, refined, tested, troubleshoot, and upgraded. Now, all of these words sound like past tense, and you can use them for your past position, and for your current position, you just make it current. So instead of saying achieved, you say achieve, because you're still doing it. It's not like past tense and it's just added up there. You're actually continuing it still today. So now that you have your resume written, and your next thing is to write the cover letter. Now there is a checklist of what to review before you submit. So you have proofread your resume and you have written your cover letter, but how do you ensure that all your hard work will get the hiring manager's attention? Here are some tips to take your cover letter to the next level. Number 1, verify everyone's contact information. Triple check both your contact information and the information you have for your potential employer, whether it's in your header, your signature, or both. Make sure your phone number and email are correct, that no numbers or letters are transposed, and your email address is accurate. If you have one, include a link to your professional website or portfolio. Once you have confirmed all of your information, review the company's contact information. Verify the spelling of their name. This may mean including Inc. or LLC if applicable, and double check the company's address. The second thing is confirm that you are using the right greetings. Start by checking your tone. Is it a professional or more casual? Your choice of greeting will depend upon several factors, such as whether or not you have the hiring manager personally, if you are being referred by an employee, the type of job for which you are applying, and the overall company culture. If you aren't sure, opt for more formal tier. If you have located the name of the hiring manager and are addressing them by name in the greeting of your cover letter, double check the spelling of their name before you send the letter. The third thing, make sure you are sending the right letter. Chances are you are applying to multiple jobs, so you probably have several cover letters drafts. As you are reviewing your cover letter, make sure that it's referencing the correct position and the correct company throughout, because variations of your cover letter can add up quickly. It's a good idea to clearly label and organize each version. This will make it easier to reference previous versions when you want to reuse portions of various letters in new versions, improve future iterations, or restructure your template altogether. The fourth thing, pick your keywords wisely. Once you have completed the steps above, then move to the body of your letter. Make sure that you have cross-referenced keywords in the job description with your cover letter and align the language. You undoubtedly have a number of different talents, so find the best way to start to state your skills and use the same keywords that the company uses in the job description. Many companies use software called Applicant Tracking System, ATS Review, and qualify applicants based on job descriptions, keywords. Then rank each applicant within the company's database. If your keywords aren't aligned specifically to the job description, you might not hear back. The next thing, choose the right file format. It's best to stick to the file format on ATS, and ATS can easily parse. Choose .doc or PDF format to ensure your file will be easily read by the system. Neither of these is the default option when you are saving a document. To choose the file format for your cover letter, click on File, Save As, and find the Format field. From a drop-down menu, you can select .doc or PDF. The next thing is check length requirements. Check the application form to see if there is a specific word limit for your cover letter submission. If not, a general rule is that cover letters should be no more than a single page long, consisting of 3 to 4 paragraphs that underscore why you are a qualified job applicant without repeating your resume verbatim. State why you are interested in the specific role. Include targeted professional information. Satisfy any directions listed in the job description. And demonstrate an understanding of the organization. And the last thing, proofread and proofread again. Once you've made it through all the steps listed, as I said it before, it's crucial that you proofread your cover letter so you don't miss spelling errors, typos, or other details that can undermine your efforts. Review every detail, taking the time to get it right. Demonstrate a commitment to excellence that any hiring manager will appreciate. Now that you have the checklist handy, I'm going to talk about how you write a cover letter professionally. So whether you love writing cover letters or view them as a chore, many hiring managers still rely on them to gauge an applicant's personality, attention to detail, and communication skills. The key to writing effective cover letters then is to follow instructions and communicate succinctly but with a compelling voice. So here are the guidelines to keep you in mind as you craft your cover letter. First, you customize your header based on the format of your application. Like I said before, if you're writing your cover letter directly within an online job application, there's no need to include your address or other contact information, as you've probably already typed that into other areas of the application form. If you're including your cover letter as an attachment, you can use the same heading as your resume. And that's how I always do. I write cover letter the same as the resume, the header, because it looks like a set. Like if the resume looks the same, then the cover looks the same, and they will be able to identify that is mine, for example. And I use graphics because I'm very into standing out. So I use graphics in the header as well, and it actually helps. The next thing is using appropriate greeting. So if you know the name of the hiring manager for the first job, begin your cover letter by addressing them directly. For example, Dear Jane Smith. If you don't know the name of the hiring manager, you can begin your letter with a simple hello or Dear Hiring Manager. And I always use Dear Hiring Manager, and it works. It sounds very professional, and it addresses exactly who I'm talking about, who I want the person to read it, a hiring manager. So get a feel for the company's culture when deciding how formal your greeting should be. More formal introductions, such as to whom it may concern or dear sir or madam, can come across as too stuffy for some organizations, while greetings like hey and hi there are almost always too casual for a cover letter. For me, when I have somebody write for me dear sir or madam, I feel like it's very, very old-fashioned, and that person doesn't know how, I don't know, that person is not aware that we no longer use dear sir or madam. And to whom it may concern, we still use it, but it shows that you didn't do enough homework to find out more about who you're writing to. The next thing is avoid generic references to your abilities. Whenever possible, tell meaningful anecdotes that tie your skills to concrete problem-solving activities or tangible business results you have worked on in your career. Any candidate can say they possess a desirable skill. To make an impact, you need to show hiring managers examples of your skills in action. For example, of a vague one that says, my skills would be a great fit for your organization. It's very vague. I don't know what skills you're talking about, and how are you going to prove it to me that your skills are fit to my organization. And now another one who says specifically, he will say, in my role as a sales associate, I am frequently required to provide exceptional customer service on short notice. Exceeding customers' expectation is a point of personal and professional pride for me, and this is a skill I'm eager to continue developing. Very, very detailed and shows me an example of how this person has a skill that is fit to my organization. Another example that is vague. I am a proactive team player. Very short, not knowing exactly why you're saying you're a proactive team player. Show me an example. To make it specific is in my current job, I proactively jumped in to help launch an internal recycling and waste reduction initiative. Together, our team contributed to a 25% reduction in solid waste production within the company. Very, very detailed, and I can tell this person is actually showing me why his skill is fit to my organization. Now, let's move on to the next one. Keep it short and to the point. Unless specified in the job description, there is no required length for a cover letter, so focus on the details that are most important for the job. Like I said, it should be only one page. And read the job description closely to identify the best opportunities to illustrate your qualifications. What professional achievements are you the most proud of? Choose one or two and map them directly to the desired experience or qualifications the hiring manager is looking for. Using just a few detailed but concise sentences, what attributes is the job description calling for in a candidate? Consider using the cover letter itself as a way of demonstrating those traits. Don't reiterate everything that's on your resume. You want to focus on one or two anecdotes, expanding on how you achieved something specific. And here are two examples of cover letters, traditional version and a less traditional version. Now, first, I'm going to read you this job description on the job description, and then the cover letter, and then I will give you some examples of how the writers use specific phrases from the job description and include them in the letter. And then I'll give you another example that takes more creative approach, and the person says personal story and appeals more abstractly to the attributes called for this for in the job posting. So, and both are pretty much like less than 300 words long. So the position is an administrative assistant, and the job description is like this. In this role, you'll be supporting managers and other senior level personnel by managing their calendars, arranging travel, filing expense reports, and performing other administrative tasks. Strong interpersonal skills, attention to detail, and problem-solving skills will be critical to success. Qualifications: 5+ years of experience providing high-level admin support to diverse team in a fast-paced environment, high school diploma or equivalent work experience, excellent Microsoft Office skills with an emphasis on Outlook and Excel, self-motivated and highly organized team players who work well with minimal supervision. This is just a job description of administrative assistant. So here's the cover letter that is for that position. Dear hiring manager, I am writing to express my interest in the opening for an administrative assistant at blank company. I am drawn to this opportunity for several reasons. First, I have a proven track record of success in administrative roles. Most recently, in my current job as an administrative coordinator, a highlight for my time here was when I proactively stepped in to coordinate a summit for our senior leaders last year. I arranged travel and accommodations for a group of 15 executives from across the company, organized meals and activities, collaborated with our internal events team, and ensured that everything ran according to schedule over a 2-day summit. Due to the positive feedback I received afterwards, I have been given the responsibility of doubling the number of attendees for the event this year and leading an internal team to get the job done. I am also attracted to this role because of the high growth opportunity that blank company provides. The research that I have done on your company culture has shown me that there are ample opportunities for self-motivated individuals like me. A high level of organization and attention to detail are second nature to me, and I'm eager to apply these skills in new and challenging environments. I look forward to sharing more details of my experience and motivations with you. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, signed with your name and phone number. Now here is a different job description that is a job posting that's for a brand copywriter. And this is a job description that says like this: we are looking for an experienced copywriter to join our team. If you have a great eye for balance, a quick wit, and can adapt a brand voice for any medium, then this role is right for you. Responsibility: write for branded communications including ads, emails, events, landing pages, video, product marketing, and more. Maintain and develop the voice of our brand in collaboration with others. Develop copy for internal communications that generate excitement about our company culture. Work independently and manage your time well. Strong copy editing skills for your own work and for others. Requirements: a portfolio of your work, minimum 5 years of copywriting, ideally with an agency, and strong attention to detail. So the cover letter for that brand copywriting will be like this. Hello. Copywriters usually don't write dear hiring managers because they are mostly like freelancers, so they can say hello. There are at least two less than obvious ways to improve your vocabulary and by extension your copywriting skills: studying for the GRE and becoming a crossword puzzle enthusiast. I've done both, but for the purposes of this job application, I'd like to focus on the latter. My grandmother was the best writer I've ever known. She wasn't a professional writer, but she had a gift, and a love of writing was something we shared. It wasn't until last year that I also took up her love for crossword puzzles, and immediately saw how the two went hand in hand. Before long, I was solving Monday through Wednesday puzzles in the New York Times, needing to look up words less and less frequently as time passed. Soon I was able to complete Thursday to Saturday too. Throughout this process, I could feel my stock of quips, rejoinders, and turns of phrases steadily growing. Eventually, I worked up the courage to attempt the Sunday puzzle. It was this courage that was the real turning point for me. In my current agency, I was already known as a hard worker and a creative spirit. My peer and manager evaluations had made this clear. But while I felt confident in my abilities, I had never seen myself as particularly daring. Considering new challenges and mastering each one along the way had given me a renewed sense of myself and clarity about my chosen profession. I began a career as a copywriter because I was skilled at finding combinations of words to fit a thought or feeling. I am continuing down that path because I realized how I can shape and hone that skill to reach new heights. I like copywriting at blank company to be the next step in my journey. All the best, name and phone number. So as you can see, there are different ways to write it. For if you're a freelancer, you just start with a hello, and if you are looking for a regular job, then you are starting with Dear Hiring Manager. And all of this is shared on my Facebook page, Let's Talk Careers with Sara. You can press the link, how to write a cover letter, and you will see these examples as well. The next thing, you proofread before you submit. Reread your cover letter several times before submitting, and keep an eye out for errors of spelling, grammar, or punctuation. Reading the letter aloud can help you pick out awkward phrasing or too long sentences. There are certain common errors that we all have a tendency to gloss over. To make sure to do a slow, deliberate reading that examines each word. If your salutation includes the hiring manager's name, triple check the spelling. And for jobs that require submitting a cover letter, remember that you are getting a valuable chance to illustrate your capabilities and share a glimpse of authentic personality. Take advantage of the opportunity to let your greatest strength shine while also showing that you respect the hiring manager's time and attention. So with this, I'm going to close today the show. Thank you so much for being here with me and hearing to my show. If you have any questions, you can reach me at Let's Talk Careers with Sara.